Hi there. Welcome to the Connecting KC podcast. I'm Rachel Kilmer, also known as Rach the Realtor on the internet, where I love, connecting all things Kansas City. I'm a metro area real estate agent, retired sports reporter, and mom, and probably too old to be calling myself a TikToker, but honestly, that's how we got here. You can learn more at www.rachtherealtorkc.com. But this show is all about introducing you to all of the movers and shakers, interesting people, heartfelt stories, and funny quirks that make this vibrant community home. So let's get right to it with today's episode of Connecting KC. Welcome into the Connecting KC podcast. I am Rachel Kilmer here today, connecting you with everyone interesting in Kansas City. Today's guest is someone that I met on TikTok, of all places, because that's where you find all good things in life, you know? And now I like to count her as a friend and, of course, fellow Kansas Citian. Lauren Manning is the president of the Missouri Alliance for Historic Preservation. She's a mom and occasional TikTok creator. She's underselling herself there, though. Lauren grew up in St. Joseph, Missouri, but has called Kansas City home since 2011. She graduated with her Bachelor of Arts in Urban Studies from UMKC in 2015 and has worked in the field of historic preservation ever since. Recently, she was the historic preservation planner for the city of Kansas City. And prior to her most recent position, she worked for the city of St. Joseph, the Oregon-California Trails Association, and Historic Kansas City. As president of the Missouri Alliance for Historic Preservation, or Missouri Preservation for short, she's working at a statewide level advocating for historic preservation throughout Missouri. Lauren is a fan of showing off history, especially historic places that are off the beaten path, in fun ways to new audiences, and she's great at that. And she currently lives in the Northland with her husband, son, and 2 dogs. Okay, Lauren, welcome in. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. This is great.
Yes. So let's start with TikTok because that's where we met. So at Lauren is Losing It, has over 16,000 followers, where I think you're known best for finding the best hole-in-the-wall eats in the entire metro. And then, of course, schooling all of us on Kansas City history and fun facts. So how did this start? How did you become a TikToker? Tell us the story there.
Okay, so this is funny. My niece and nephew, who are like Gen Zs, totally like they loved it, and I was like, well, I can start a TikTok and I'll play with it. And I just started throwing stuff up on there, and sure enough, it's Kansas City TikTok showed up, and we've been here ever since.
Yes, so kind of accidental, and then realized it was working and stuck with it, huh?
Yeah, it was just kind of a fun thing, and then started getting kind of successful. So I've had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, reading through your bio, I think I'm picking up that you like history. Just a thought. So
I do.
And obviously, you love Kansas City too. So I'm wondering I'm sure you've studied a lot of historic preservation all across the country. What's unique about the great things and the challenges of historic preservation in Kansas City specifically?
Kansas City is home to a lot of big planning ideas. City Beautiful movement. So we have parks and boulevards everywhere, and we were really a poster child for that. We never had a World's Fair, but we went to Chicago, learned about the White City, and really took a lot of those ideas of, I say turn of the century, 19th to 20th century, and really broaden those ideas from being a cow town to just a bustling metropolis. So Kansas City has a lot to be proud of as far as like design and landmarks and places to go, places whether they're historically designated or not. But it has a lot of challenges too. We've historically been very racially redlined. And there's a lot of divide between East Kansas City and West Kansas City, North Kansas City and South Kansas City. So we have the river too. There's a lot of all kinds of areas to study preservation in Kansas City, and yeah, it's fun to be right in the center of the country. We we have a lot to be proud of here.
So I'm curious, just with the like context of the Royals announcing their move to downtown. Um,
Oh yeah.
Obviously, that's going to change things a lot. Like, how do you balance historic preservation with growth and development? I'm sure that's like the magic question that you guys all spend your lives working on. But
Yeah, so as a city planner, I'm a big fan of downtown baseball.
Mhm.
We could be here downtown and go catch a game over lunch, or go after work every day. All of us downtown could be doing all that. Downtown baseball would be fantastic for our city, I think.
Mhm.
That said, um, that's a big stadium to go into a landfill. So,
Mhm.
as a historic preservationist, a lot has happened at the K. It's a very iconic design. It's a very iconic field. It's one of the biggest ones in the league. So, and with it being built with Arrowhead as Truman Sports Complex, uh, I don't know if it would ever happen, but it could totally be nominated as a historic district in itself with the two buildings. So, as a preservationist, there's a desire to want to save that. But as a city planner, downtown baseball, I'm a big fan of that. So, I'm just gonna see where this goes.
Kind of the rub of both. Like both things are true, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So I would
guess.
love to see the Kauffman Center Stadium, not the Kauffman Center, the Kauffman Stadium, uh, turn into something cool. Maybe tie it in with Arrowhead, use it as like a new power and light sort of district.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
I don't know.
That's a fun idea. Like, what if they took the K and like actually made mini restaurants in it and stuff? And
Yeah,
that's
its own little entertainment district. So
wow.
that
It's a
could
good
be
thing we know
fun.
people because that's a great idea. You should definitely run that up the ladder.
They don't pay
Well,
me that money.
yeah, you got to trademark it first and then go
Yeah,
make some money
yeah.
on it. Well, I guess one of my other questions with it though is like with baseball going downtown, you kind of mentioned redlining at first. Like my concern also with my like real estate context is like how many people are going to get displaced for this, and well, not necessarily displaced, but like
Hmm.
it's going to drive up obviously going to drive up home values wherever it goes. And like is that as a historic preservationist are you thinking like oh gosh is this going to go next to a neighborhood that has all these historic homes that have historically been a lower easier more attainable price for more people, or like is that something that like people that are do what you do for a living are thinking about when there's a major project like that in a
Right. So it depends on where they want to put it, for sure. I think some demolitions will probably be on the chopping block. It depends on where it goes. Um, we have, I think, 4,500 local registered nominations. So we would review demolition for that, but not all of those places are designated. So it depends. If they stayed kind of on the government side of downtown, the east side, there's a huge parking area that could be used. That would be a great place to utilize. It's right off the highway. It depends on where it goes, but
Mhm,
yeah, the east side, putting it towards east side, I think would pull more people together from each side of town,
mhm,
and I think it would be a good bridging landmark, so to speak. So for everyone, I think there would be some displacement, but I don't think it would be like, well, like the Dodgers Stadium when it was built. That went through a neighborhood. This would
mhm.
be more of a downtown thing. So, um, yeah, it's a landmark in and of itself. A downtown baseball stadium would be huge. So,
That's cool.
yeah,
So that's an interesting thought too, is like putting it somewhere where it really bridges those gaps that we've had in our city's history. And they can almost like make that part of the branding and stuff, like bringing
yeah,
the city together here. That's cool.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
so awesome. So you mentioned there's only like what 4,500 you said actually registered historic homes. Tell me more about that. Is
That
it a
is,
process to do that
yeah,
or?
we have, I think, 4,500 local register and 6,500 national register properties in town. Those are ones that have been designated either by the city, or the National Park Service. So those are the national ones are federally recognized. The ones here are actually more protected than the national ones, if that makes sense.
Mhm,
Um, yeah, so local register is ones that have been designated by city council, and those are the ones that our office reviews. or our former office reviews, and those have protection within the city. So if any of those were affected by new development, we would review demolition for them. So yeah.
I see. So, this personal question: do you live in like a really old house, or is that like your dream to live in an old house, or have you seen too many horror stories about the old houses?
No, I love old houses. I live in a log cabin in the Northland. It's I found it. I think it's one of the only ones in town. Um, so I jumped on that fact. But my former boss definitely lives in Hyde Park. I used to live in Union Hill in a sixplex there. Loved it. I lived in Longmeadow Apartments in Midtown. I love Midtown. I love downtown. So I would love to move back sometime. But right now, I'm comfy in the Northland.
I feel like me and my friend were just talking about this the other day. Like people that end up in the Northland, it's like you stay there. Like you don't cross. Like you stay on your side of the river. You know, like
I've learned that. I used to live south of the river, and I've just moved to the Northland. So I've
now you're
learned
stuck.
that.
Yeah, now you're
I know. I guess I'm here forever.
stuck. um, okay, so you now have this new role as the president of the Missouri Alliance for Historic Preservation. So congratulations. That's super
Yeah, thank
exciting.
you.
This is the first time hearing of this organization, so I'm sure for like anyone that's listening probably hasn't heard of it as well unless you sent them here. But tell us about this organization, the work you guys do, and kind of what drew you to it.
Yeah, it's the statewide historic preservation nonprofit. We go out and do all kinds of tours all over the state. We go to the Jeff City quite a bit, but there's a local conference that bounces around every year, so I get to go to a new Missouri city every year. We jump around. We have a series called Show Me Social, where we go to small towns and we take over for a while. We go to a local bar, we go on a tour of downtown, whatever we can find. And we basically are little tourists in our own state. And we focus on historic downtowns and historic places across the state. We have a lot of fun. We do a lot of traveling, and yeah, it's not just Kansas City and St. Louis. There's all kinds of interesting places all throughout the state. So
Yeah, that sounds super cool. What's your the kind of putting you on the spot here, but like what's your favorite like random town recommendation in Missouri?
there's one called Arrow Rock. It's in between here and Columbia. Um, Cute little town. The whole town is considered a state park, so it is designated. The whole town is beautiful. It's adorable. It's right off I-70, so if you're next time you're going east on I-70, pass through. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's a
I've
fun
never
little
heard
town.
that.
I also love Herman, Missouri.
Mhm.
Great wineries and stuff. So
Yes, absolutely. So as president, do you have like goals, like things you're trying to work on as an organization that you want to like accomplish or like expand or grow or kind of what's
yeah,
your
we really advocate for use of historic tax credits. If you are historically designated as a historic property, you can use the historic tax credit in Missouri. That's 25%. In the state, in the federal tax credit is 20%. So you can invest into something and get up to 45% of your investment back in form of tax credits. We advocate for that because that gets used all across the state. We advocate for it at the national level too. We have lots of buildings in the state that have been saved using that method. So
Yeah,
we
wow, that's cool. That's
yeah.
important work. That I mean, that's huge. Wow,
Yeah.
that's super super cool. One more question about this organization is like who comprises the membership? Like is it all kinds of kinds or
Yeah.
mostly younger, mostly older? Like what's the who's drawn to this kind of group?
Well, I believe I am the youngest president thus far
Ooh,
uh, for the organization.
I
It
kind of
started in
suspected that.
1970s. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
our youngest board member is 22. Our oldest one, I don't know. We have retired people.
Hmm.
We have architects. We have craftsmen. We have nonprofit people. We have museum people. Anybody that likes history. So anybody is invited. Just fans of it too. We have lots of people that just come to like to explore with us. So
Hmm.
um, we have a wide variety of people.
It's a fun way to like connect with people that share the same passions and interests as you, but then probably you can meet people from all over that you never would have met otherwise. It's
Yes,
cool.
history nerds.
You guys got to gather somewhere, you know? So,
Yeah.
okay. What excites you about the future of Kansas City? Like, what's the most thing you're the most pumped about, like looking ahead to our city's future?
Oh gosh. Well, like we already discussed downtown baseball. I'm excited about the World Cup. That's gonna be fun. I'm excited about the new airport opening. Uh, I was sad to see the original airport be demolished, but I'm excited for the new one too. I would
Yes.
like to see a hockey team eventually. We're working on a city plan right now in this city. I guess we used to be. I've left that position, but working on a position or on a preservation plan for the whole city. Um, I'd love to see more historic nominations for sure of local landmarks that aren't necessarily beautiful, but things like Kitty's Cafe.
Hmm.
um, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for the World Cup. I'm excited for big events happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sports gal, like after my own heart. You can tell we
Yes.
love
Yeah.
sports immediately where you go. We're like, what do you
Oh,
say?
oh yeah. In the current stadium, I'm excited about that too.
Oh yeah, so cool. Um, okay, you said you'd like to see more historic nominees. Is that how you phrased it?
Yeah.
Is it difficult? Like, so if someone knows someone that has a cool old house, like, is it difficult to obtain historic status? Is that something that's desirable for homeowners? Like, what's the process?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it is a little difficult to get listed, but it's just more of a time thing. So if you have a year to waste, it would be definitely beneficial to you. It But once you get designated he in the National Register, you can take advantage of the tax credits um, and you get designated here. We get protection for demolition, and a
Mhm.
lot of neighborhoods really like it, like Hyde Park. Anything that gets added to there or taken away from gets reviewed. So a lot of the community has protection over where they live. But I would like to see more of that in the East Side and Northland and South Kansas City too. So
Very
yeah,
cool. And so the organization you're working with, can they like advocate for that and like get
yes,
involved with that? Okay. Okay.
yes, and there are a lot of people that do that for a living. So um, yeah, you can help with that.
Super cool. Okay, this is a question that I'm going to ask everyone that comes on this podcast is give us your recommendation for a great meal that you've had in Kansas City. It could be like your favorite of all time or like just something you had great last week.
Um,
Give us the rec.
well, so there's a little hole in the wall place on 31st and Charlotte, I believe. They are called Kitty's Cafe. They have the best tenderloin in town. I have tried all of them at this point. There's only one or two that I haven't been to that everybody's been recommending. Um, I think they're the best tenderloin in town. They are cash only. There's nowhere to sit, so you got to take it to go. But well worth the drive. And yeah, cheap, really affordable. And they were just named New York Times top 10 restaurants in the country. So
What?
it's not just me that thinks they're good.
You obviously have a great palate.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. That sounds amazing. I will have to try that sometime because my great grandma used to make those, and I find it hard to believe someone can make them better than Grandma Billy, but I will give it a try.
Well, I would like to try your recipe too. Yeah.
All right. Well, Lauren, thank you so much for joining. Where can people find you moving forward? We know Lauren is losing it on TikTok.
Yeah, Lauren is
And
losing it on TikTok.
mhm,
Lauren Ellen Marie on Instagram. Eventually, I need to get them to match, but one was taken on one platform and the other one was taken on the other platform. So Lauren Ellen Marie on Instagram or Lauren Manning KC on Facebook. Yeah, or
well,
Casey Mo
hopefully,
Landmarks. You can follow them on Instagram too. So
perfect. Yeah, hopefully you can throw around your weight as president now to get that.
yeah, Missouri Preservation.
Very
Very
cool.
beautiful.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. And thank you for all the work you do for historic preservation for the city and the free, amazing content you provide on TikTok. I always learn something from you. So
Yeah.
appreciate it for real.
Yeah, I will keep it up. Thank
All
you.
right. Awesome. Thanks, Lauren. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If we haven't already, let's connect. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Rach the Realtor KC. We're back right here every Thursday morning with a new guest on Connecting KC. See you next time.